Why was the former president of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, arrested? Duterte was arrested on March 11th and taken to The Hague to face charges of crimes against humanity at the International Criminal Court. His charges are related to the war on drugs he pursued while in office, and he's accused of authorizing up to 30,000, quote, widespread and systematic extrajudicial killings in his time as mayor and then president. So let's walk it back. The ICC has been investigating Duterte's drug killings since 2011, when he established himself as a tough-on-crime politician while serving as mayor of a city in the Philippines. He then declared a war on drugs during his presidency that spanned from 2016 to 2022. And that campaign did reduce illegal drugs in the country, but these killings were a key feature of that campaign. Human rights organizations say police and vigilantes were being paid cash to kill anyone accused of using or selling drugs, rather than arresting them, for example. This created a system that motivated police and others to kill almost any suspect, even if the evidence wasn't strong. In fact, some say crime scenes were even staged in order to plant evidence. The police say they killed around 6,000 drug suspects, but human rights organizations put that number between 12 and 30,000. And while he was in office, Duterte withdrew the Philippines from the ICC, presumably to prevent any scrutiny or backlash with these policies. Now, the current president who took over after Duterte is President Bongbong Marcos Jr. I'm not making that up. And he's the son of Ferdinand Marcos, who was a dictator who ruled the Philippines for 2 decades and who was also charged with human rights abuses. Also not making that up. President Marcos promised not to support or help the ICC investigate Duterte when he took over in 2022. An election, by the way, that he won by a landslide with Duterte's daughter, Sara Duterte, as vice president. I know, it's like an episode of Succession. But when Marcos's coalition fell apart, he changed his mind and said he would comply with an ICC arrest warrant. So now former President Duterte is in ICC custody in The Hague, and his daughter, who's still the current vice president, is facing possible impeachment on corruption charges and connections to murders during the war on drugs. There's obviously some political motivation at play here, but while some Filipinos celebrate the arrest of Duterte, many have gone to the streets in protest. Duterte left office with a nationwide approval rating of 80%, and he remains widely popular, in part because of that war on drugs. And I wanted to highlight his popularity because we're seeing this trend around the world, where leaders pursue authoritarian crackdowns and people accept them because of the promise of security. We've seen it in El Salvador, for example, where their leader, Nayib Bukele, pursued authoritarian measures like mass incarceration without due process to target gang violence. His policies have resulted in a 90% decrease in homicide and a general stop to mass violence across the country, and so he remains widely popular. It's still unclear how Duterte's case will go at the ICC, but I would watch this increasing trend very carefully.